Have you ever felt like you're juggling your job, your personal life, and your sanity all at once, only to watch everything slip through your fingers the moment pressure hits? Most people try fixing their schedules, routines, or apps, but the real problem isn't the clock. It's the mindset behind how we live and work. This is where Stoicism comes in, an ancient philosophy built on clarity, discipline, and the ability to stay grounded no matter how chaotic life becomes. The Stoics believed that peace doesn't come from rearranging the outside world, but from cultivating strength and stability within yourself. Their teachings remain remarkably practical for today's fast-paced, always connected work culture. With that in mind, let's look at 10 Stoic-inspired habits that can help you build a healthier, more resilient approach to work and life. Habits that strengthen your thinking, protect your time, and bring balance back into your days. 1. Separate what you can influence from what you can't. A central teaching in Stoic philosophy is learning to see clearly which parts of life fall within your influence and which do not. Your choices, your perspective, the consistency of your effort, and your reactions belong to you. But the reactions of co-workers, the timing of promotions, the results of big decisions, or how others judge your work, those fall outside your control. This clarity prevents emotional exhaustion. Instead of wrestling with forces beyond your reach, you invest energy where it can actually make a difference. It creates a steadier, calmer internal world because you stop tying your well-being to outcomes you can't shape. In everyday life, this might look like preparing for an important meeting without fixating on whether the client will say yes. You concentrate on organizing your ideas, practicing your delivery, and showing up as your best self. Once the meeting ends, you let go of whatever is outside your hands. This approach reduces the mental clutter you carry into the rest of your day, helping you end work with a clearer mind and transition smoothly into your personal life. 2. Build anchoring routines for morning and night. The Stoics believed that structured reflection acts as a compass for the mind. A purposeful morning routine sets your internal direction before the demands of the day begin pulling you around. It's a moment to decide what truly matters and how you want to behave under pressure. An evening routine serves as a closing ritual, an opportunity to look back at your choices, acknowledge progress, and release whatever doesn't need to follow you into tomorrow. These rituals turn each day into a cycle of learning instead of a rush of disconnected tasks. In modern life, this might look like starting your morning by reviewing your schedule, reminding yourself of your priorities, and mentally preparing to handle challenges with patience. At night, you could journal a short reflection: what worked well, what you struggled with, and what you plan to adjust. These simple habits prevent unresolved work stress from bleeding into your time at home. By giving your mind designated moments to process the day, you create a buffer that protects your peace and restores mental clarity. 3. Create boundaries before you need them. Stoics practiced preparing for challenges in advance so they wouldn't be caught off guard. When it comes to work-life balance, that means recognizing the ways work tends to stretch into personal hours, unexpected messages, last-minute requests, or your own impulse to keep pushing. Instead of reacting to these pressures when they arise, you decide ahead of time where your limits are. Boundaries are commitments to yourself, how you want to spend your time, how you want to feel, and how you want to show up in your personal life. When you define them early, you protect yourself from being swept into obligations that drain you unnecessarily. In everyday practice, this could mean setting a firm time in the evening when you stop checking emails. You may notify your team that unless something is genuinely urgent, you'll respond the next morning. You turn on Do Not Disturb at a certain hour, allowing your brain to shift out of work mode. By determining these limits ahead of time, you protect your evenings, your rest, and your relationships from being overshadowed by work that can wait. 4. Strengthen yourself through small, intentional challenges. The Stoics believed that resilience grows through voluntary exposure to minor difficulties. By choosing small discomforts, you train your mind not to panic when real challenges arise. This practice isn't about suffering, it's about building emotional flexibility, independence from constant comfort, and the ability to tolerate unfinished tasks or temporary imperfection. When you embrace manageable discomfort, you loosen work's grip on your identity and break the habit of equating non-stop productivity with self-worth. In a modern context, this could look like stepping away from your desk for a real lunch break, even if part of you worries the break will put you behind. It could mean intentionally ending your workday with a few non-urgent tasks still undone, proving to yourself that not everything requires immediate closure. These deliberate acts help retrain your mind to disengage from work when needed. Over time, they build the confidence that you can pause, rest, and recharge without losing control of your responsibilities. 5. Place your effort above the final result. Stoicism teaches that fulfillment comes from committing to your actions, not from controlling the outcome. What happens externally often depends on many factors, but your character, your focus, and your effort remain fully yours. When you judge your day by how you behaved rather than what you achieved, you create stability and reduce the emotional turbulence caused by unpredictable results. This mindset fosters inner peace because your sense of progress relies on something reliable, your own choices. In everyday life, this might mean reflecting on a big project not by whether leadership approved it, but by whether you collaborated well, communicated clearly, and worked with integrity. Even if the final decision goes in a different direction, you can still end the day feeling grounded. By focusing on the part you control, your process, you carry far less tension home with you. This shift not only reduces stress but also helps you maintain consistent satisfaction with your work, regardless of external judgment. 6. Pause intentionally to regain clarity. Stoic thinking emphasizes acting with purpose rather than reacting impulsively. By incorporating small pauses throughout the day, you give yourself a chance to reset, reassess, and return to intention instead of being swept up by urgency or emotion. These micro moments of awareness help you recognize when you're being pulled into distractions, frustrations, or unnecessary stress. A simple pause interrupts automatic behaviors and allows your mind to come back to what actually matters. It's a subtle practice, but it cultivates presence, steadiness, and emotional intelligence, qualities that help you move through your day with far less friction. In modern life, this might look like stopping for a full breath before replying to a message that irritates you. Rather than firing off a reaction you'll regret later, you give yourself the space to respond from a clearer state of mind. Or during a hectic afternoon, you might take a brief minute to step away from your screen, stretch, and ask yourself whether you're focusing on what's meaningful or just what's loud. These pauses help prevent small stressors from snowballing and keep you from carrying unnecessary tension into your evening. 7. Guard your attention by ignoring the unimportant. The Stoics taught that not everything deserves your energy. Your attention is limited, and if you distribute it carelessly, you end up drained by things that don't contribute to your well-being or your goals. Selective ignorance is the practice of deliberately choosing which matters are worth your engagement and which should be dismissed. This isn't avoidance, it's discernment. By filtering out trivial distractions, you preserve mental bandwidth for meaningful work and protect your emotional space from unnecessary clutter. In modern daily life, this can mean choosing not to jump into every group chat at work, especially when the conversation spirals into gossip or minor drama. It could mean not rushing to answer non-urgent emails the moment they arrive, allowing yourself to stay focused on what's actually important. By ignoring what doesn't matter, you protect your time, lower your stress levels, and ensure that your personal life isn't consumed by the noise of constant workplace chatter. 8. Cultivate gratitude for what's already here. A fundamental Stoic practice is appreciating the things you already have instead of constantly chasing what's missing. Gratitude creates stability by shifting your focus from lack to abundance. It reduces the restless feeling that you must achieve more to feel fulfilled. When you regularly acknowledge the positives in your work and personal life, no matter how small, you break the cycle of always needing the next accomplishment to feel satisfied. This mindset brings balance because you stop sacrificing your well-being for goals that may never feel enough. In everyday life, this might look like taking a moment at the end of a stressful day to appreciate the colleague who supported you, the progress you made, or the fact that you're learning and improving. At home, it could be as simple as enjoying a quiet meal or appreciating the warmth of your living space. These small acknowledgements ground you, reduce anxiety, and make it easier to protect your personal time instead of chasing endless achievements. 9. View challenges as training grounds. Stoicism encourages reframing obstacles as opportunities to grow stronger. When difficulties arise, they aren't threats to your peace, they're exercises that build patience, resilience, and skill. This mindset transforms stress into something purposeful. Rather than resisting challenges or feeling overwhelmed by them, you approach them as chances to improve your emotional and mental fortitude. This perspective diffuses frustration and helps you stay balanced even when work becomes demanding. In modern terms, this could mean treating a demanding project as a chance to sharpen your organization skills or approach a difficult coworker as practice in patience and communication. When something unexpected disrupts your plans, instead of being thrown off, you ask yourself, what can this teach me? By adopting this mindset, obstacles lose much of their emotional weight, allowing you to handle them without letting them dominate the rest of your day. 10. Align your actions with your core values. Stoics believed that living in harmony with your values creates integrity, clarity, and peace. When you know what truly matters to you, family, health, creativity, service, balance, you can filter your decisions through those principles. This prevents external pressures from steering your life in directions that conflict with your inner priorities. When your actions are aligned with your values, you experience less internal conflict and greater confidence in your choices. In everyday circumstances, this might look like choosing not to stay late at the office if it means missing an important moment with your family, or turning down a project that demands more than you can sustainably give. When you make decisions based on what you stand for, not what others expect, you protect your time and maintain a sense of control over your life. Values become a compass that guides you through competing demands with far more ease. Conclusion: balance comes from within. The Stoic approach to work-life balance isn't about dividing your hours perfectly or removing stress from your life. It's about developing the clarity to see what truly deserves your energy, the discipline to act with intention, and the resilience to remain steady despite external pressures. These habits don't promise a life without difficulty, but they do offer tools that keep you grounded and composed no matter what comes your way. By practicing these 10 habits, you build an internal foundation strong enough to support you through long work days, personal responsibilities, and unexpected challenges. True balance isn't found by rearranging your schedule, it's created by strengthening your mind.